and welcome to the AIDEM Interactions. The AIDEM Interactions is looking at a unique budget or the run-up to the unique budget today. We are going through, if I may say so, an unprecedented situation in the run-up to the budget. This is where the stock markets are in absolute mayhem on account of the Hindenburg Report on the Adani Group of companies. And we have a very illustrious team of people to discuss this situation. There is Sethumadhavan UK, who is the chairman and managing director of Xenturion Fintech, who's also long experience in the banking sector. He was the senior vice president of HDFC. He was the vice president of Xenturion Bank. And of course, he has been a motivational speaker. And of course, generally somebody who looked at the financial sector and the entrepreneurship sector in great detail. And we have Ravi Nair, investigative journalist and writer, who has to his credit some very important, breaks, including the Rafale deal, the story on the Rafale deal. He broke the story first, and of course, I have known him for quite some time. We have been friends, and of course, we have been associates in writing also. And of course, Vijayashankar, group editor of the AIDEM, one of the longest editors of Frontline magazine. So, without much ado, Sethu sir, I will start by asking you this straightforward question. We know that there was a period when Indian budgets did not have much to do with the stock market, but that has all changed in the last 30 years. I remember famously when A.V. Bardhan once, when Chidambaram was going to present the budget and the media was telling him stock market it will have a negative impact on the stock market. And he said, "Baad mein jaye aapka stock market. Let the stock market go to hell." But anyway, we cannot be talking like that now. But then now we are in a situation where people who are great advocates and people who are votaries of the stock market budget linkage, they are also facing this huge, unique situation where there is a government which is being accused of supporting a particular group, the Adani Group, and the Hindenburg Report has kind of, punched a lot of holes into the group, and of course, with the stock market in steady fall. So, given the situation that we are in today, how do you look at the prospects of the budget and what is the situation in the stock market today?
If you ask me the last 1 year, we were saying we were isolated from what is happening across the globe. What has happened in December and January has proven that, you cannot be in isolation for long. The current Hindenburg report was just a reason for just to, I would say something to, I won't call it a flash in the pan, but it was actually something which ensured that the speed with which we were breaching and we were joining the others, it happened very fast. Or what did not happen in the last 1 year happened suddenly. Having said that, let's also accept the fact that, we were all talking about China +1 and things like that. But the moment China opened up and with their market valuation being much lower, one thing we are seeing is people still have a lot of faith in the huge manufacturing capability of China and other Asian countries. So that is one of the reasons where, when there was an opportunity, a lot of money has started moving in there. Now, as to the question, how the budget will have the impact, budgets normally do have an impact, and normally it happens on the budget day or after the budget day. This time, my gut feeling is if we get a reasonably decent budget, markets could take a reverse direction because we have already gone down. What goes up has to come down and what goes down has to go up. Right. So I think the first part seems to have been done right now. So if we have a budget where there is not too much of populism or too much of subsidies and things like that, if the basic economic principles are being maintained, which essentially happens in the form of how you contain your deficit to a large extent, I feel the budget could be perhaps the trigger for getting back to where we were. That's it.
Anyway, I think the whole debate on what is a good budget. I think it is very nuanced. You can't just
I agree.
there are different
Exactly.
perspectives on that. But anyway, Ravi, you are somebody who has been very closely associated with the exposés that have happened on the Adani Group, and if I have my facts right, I think you and a couple of your colleagues were also, giving inputs to the Hindenburg, report.
No comments. No comments. I can't.
Well, of course, don't comment on that. But then
You shouldn't say these things publicly. It's not good.
Well, I will. Well, but the point is, I know of certain things which, of course, as a fellow journalist, I know, and I think there's no harm in talking about it. But let us bypass that for the time being. Let us continue from where Sethumadhavan ji has left. So, how do you look at this situation, and what is your prognosis for the future?
See, when we speak about the stock market, it's not that all the shares are or the share price are skyrocketed, manifold, just like what happened with Adani Group. So with that group, it was about to happen. Everyone knew it was coming in, and when when will it happen? That was the question, right? So the Hindenburg Report, it just triggered it. And if you look at it, the Hindenburg Report itself, it's all these information were there in public domain. It was scattered. That's it, right? Most of us have written over the years on this. I mean, if you look at, for example, when they are speaking about that DRI cases and over invoicing and all, it was there in public domain since 2015-16.
Right.
Right. And when they are speaking about that foreign portfolio investors and shell companies based in Mauritius, I did a series in 2021 June, July. Then Mahua Moitra raised the question in the parliament, then wrote to SEBI based on that. So most of these things were there in public domain. So this compilation especially came from a short seller. This triggered it. So this was about to happen. Everyone, Mr. Sethumadhavan can say that, better. So this was about to happen, especially for a group when you look at the Hindenburg report says that even the EBITDA are hyped or just inflated to show good books. So, having said that, when we speak about the budget, he was saying that if this is not a budget with too much of freebies or of subsidies and all,
yeah.
I seriously doubt that. You know why? In this budget, if the government have to do something, it's election year. Next year is election, and this is the last budget, right? If
they'll have something like half a budget next year.
Yeah, but they don't have much time because April it starts, election starts, so they don't have much time. Okay, to get that, they can only do the commitments, and most of the commitments and half commitments and half budget, how it goes. So this is the year they are going to do something. They already announced last month about the food subsidy till December, the free ration.
Right.
So 3 trillion rupees will be going there itself.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And they many states further offered subsidies on the gas cylinders under Ujjwala scheme. Right. Center might hijack it. I mean, if you look at it, this government, how they did, whenever state government offers something, and if they find it's getting popular, so Modi ji mahan hai, so sara unke naam pe hona chahiye, nahi to unka photo chap nahi sakte. So, that's what's happening. So we don't know. Probably this budget will have a lot of subsidies or subsidy offers, at least for the time being, maybe for 10 months, 12 months, just like the free ration stuff. That's what I foresee.
Right.
And other part is that if you look at the capex investment from the private sector, though everybody is committing, everybody is going to every state and in their investment summits committing lakhs of crores of rupees and billions of dollars. But if you look at the actual investment in the last 3 years, then you'll realize what happened.
I know that you're somebody who keeps following this very closely.
Yeah. So for that, this government, how this government is going to address that problem, it's another, because only with the government spending on infra projects and all, this is market is not going to catch up, and it's very unfair to link what happens in the share market with actually what happens with the economy. So the budget has more to do with the state of the economy.
Yeah, of course. But the point is, we have not been able to de-link it for the last so many years. I mean, in spite of people like Bharathan talking against it. I'll come to Vijay. Vijay, can you tell me how you look at this whole situation?
I look at this from the point of view of the middle class, which is slightly vaguely defined or what. See, the middle class, every budget, they watch budget up to a point when direct tax proposals come. Okay. So then they watch it only for that. Otherwise, nothing else matters for them, most of them. People known to be. But this time, there is a difference. See, every time they expect some revision or tax concession, tax rebate. They've been expecting especially from the Modi government, and some hardcore supporters of the government have been disappointed every year, but still they keep voting. But my point is now, in the wake of the Hindenburg Report, there is anger in some section. People whom I speak to, people who are supporters of the government, see, they do so much. They go out of the way to prop up or corporate, for example, in the wake of the Hindenburg thing, what is so much the state's role in promoting this kind of business or this kind of dealings which Hindenburg Report exposed. So now they link it to why we are not getting anything. We have been asking for it for so many years, but nothing, no change in tax rates, and that is one anxiety. There is anxiety and there is some amount of anger. Second thing is LIC. LIC is the exposure, they say that it's just one, they put it very mildly, less than 1%. So, but real anxiety on the ground is based on what people ask me or people like general observation I make on social media. They're all worried about their policies, what will happen to the policy. These are two major issues which have come up in the light of this Hindenburg Report. They are a bit angry also. Somebody else looting this country, someone else, some corporate house who is known to be close to the Maharaj, Hara Hara Mahadev. So why are we given the raw drive despite our constant, steady support to this government?
But
so I don't know. This is not a...
Vijay, if you look at social media, I mean, especially in the context of, if you look at the threads which are linked to this Hindenburg Report and the Adani crash, there are lots of people. They may be motivated people. They may be people who are supporters of the government, diehard supporters of the government. They are also saying that if the State Bank or the LIC, if the public sector institutions have advanced money to Adani and he has invested it abroad and he's making a profit, the profit also is routed back to these public sector investments. So that argument is also there. I mean, Sethumadhavan, I would like to get to...
I would like to touch upon 2-3 points. One, my association, or as a student or perhaps as a practitioner with capital markets goes back to 34 years.
Okay.
Pre-Harshad Mehta days when you had no NSC, no NSDL, no DMAT, nothing of those things. I'm talking of 1989 onwards.
Right.
Capital market is not of just one Adani or one particular group. There are a number of good companies and there are very good investors also.
Right.
Seasoned investors need not and would not get involved in some fly-by-night or overseas growth operators.
Right.
So if we associate that this Hindenburg Report and one Adani Group is going to be the doomsday of capital market, we are mistaken. 95% of the people, genuine investors, including mutual funds, would be staying away from there. You could have some LIC or some institutions here and there. I'm not disputing that. They were there earlier also. They were there in the last 30-35 years. We had seen all these LICs and GICs and many of the government-led institutions being what I would say nudged to support this one. Second, we should also not overplay this Hindenburg report thinking that they are also saints of the order who have come to save the Indian economy or the Indian investors. Definitely not. What is the timing they have done? Do you think that they had got this information only now? Where were they till the last 1 month or last few days? So they also have their vested interest. So
Right.
a seasoned investor would see what are the intentions behind all these groups. And he would know how to wade away from all these things. He is not going to get involved.
But I have one specific question. I have one specific question, Sethumadhavan. The point is, in the context of the government has kind of put some prohibition on short selling. Do you think that it is justified?
No, I don't think so. See, this government, to my knowledge, nothing has happened in the last 5 days or so.
Okay.
There has not been any change. Say, I'm an options trader. I keep practicing it. I have not seen any difference in the last 3 months, even till today.
Right.
Things, whatever were the margin requirements in the last 3 months, it continues right now.
Right.
On Vijay's point, I fully agree. Yes, the middle class has been expecting. And there I have a feeling that, the direct taxes may, especially that involves the middle class people, you can definitely expect some sort of, at least a comfort level saying that maybe the government themselves were wanting to do away with the Section 80Cs and exemptions, etc. But they have not been encouraging that by way of reducing the taxes. When corporate taxes got reduced a few years ago, many of us felt that whether it was the right direction or not. But the truth of the matter is the tax collection did actually increase. I personally believe if the income tax rates comes down, you will have more of tax collection, especially with the way in which, right now, this income tax department have started capturing every transaction where your PAN number is being linked. Right. Earlier, we were all going by 126 AS. Today, those days are all gone. Wherever your PAN number is linked, every transaction, whether it is of 5,000 rupees or 50 lakhs, it's getting captured. And you are forced to make an observation why that has been included or not included in the transaction. So I feel a reduction in tax in the personal income tax rates or some modification. I'm not saying reduction, tax rates per se might not get reduced, but you will see some concessions happening there. That is one of my thoughts about the direct taxes.
Okay. Ravi, your thoughts?
I have an observation on that. You know what I mean? If you look at the EWS category, okay, economically weaker section category, okay, what is the base? It's 8 lakh rupees per annum. 8 lakh rupees. But for income tax, what is the base? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying.
No, you are right. Okay, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. There are dichotomies here. So I heard Mr. Sethumadhavan speaking about one Adani falling. It will not lose India's, world's trust on Indian capital market. I have a different opinion on that for the reason. See, even after all these things have been published by different journalists, it was there in public domain. A short seller, maybe with a vested interest. Of course, a short seller he is looking for his interest to put out in an international forum for the market to react. Now, what it shows on the floor of the parliament 1.5 years ago, Minister of State for Finance said that there are inquiries and investigations going on against this group and their transaction with certain foreign entities, shell entities, and of course there's those special 7-8 FPIs. SEBI was doing the investigation and DRI was doing the investigation. What happened to it? So where are the regulatory mechanism? So that is the question. It's not that, one Adani is going, doesn't matter. There are a lot of companies collapsed. That's fine. A lot of companies get delisted. That's also fine. Doesn't matter. Lakhs of crores of investors' money lost. But this raises, when it repeats, this raises a serious question. What SEBI is doing, what the government is doing, that should be the question.
For example, SEBI said that they are investigating it in 2021 July. My sources recently told me that that investigation met a dead end. It reached a dead end because this FPAs and those companies, related companies, they are domiciled in different jurisdiction, and they are not, those countries are not sharing the information. If that is the case, did SEBI go to the Ministry of Finance? If DRI was investigating, why DRI didn't brought these things into the notice of the government? Why didn't the government act? And another thing, when we are speaking about this particular issue, another thing, do you remember the retrospective tax on the Vodafone case?
Vodafone.
When it comes to Adani's transaction with Wholesale, it was allowed. It's the same kind of transaction.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, I mean, so where is the regulatory mechanism? Why the government is favoring? So that is the issue. It's not that one Adani's company is thinking, or his net worth is low. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah. No, one more issue. See, in this case, Adani, you can't treat it like any other corporate fraud or whatever it is, because from the days of Modi as Chief Minister of Gujarat, he has been consistently. It's not a very secret thing. It's very open. Yeah. When he sold land, Gujarat government sold for one rupee or 32 rupees to Mundra port, 15,000 acres. But same thing was not done in the case of Tata's. It was 900 rupees per square feet, much lesser. So it's a very open, blatant. There is no secret nexus. It looks like a direct open support, and he flew in his plane. He took him to Australia. So it's not so simple. And one more observation.
More than that, if a government, Vijayashankar, if a government can propose a private entity's name in foreign countries to give the business, when we broke that story, how government is pushing Sri Lankan government to have
Sri Lanka. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was in the open. No, I have another point.
And I'll add one more here. That how this Adani's power plant, upcoming power plant, just on test stage in Godda, got the SC set. It's a standalone. It's a one and only standalone power station which has an SC set status.
You mean the Jharkhand deal?
Jharkhand. It was specifically given to Adani.
10 days before he took over as Prime Minister again, the second term.
No. It was done 10 days before the announcement of election, 2019.
Okay. No. I have another point about the vested interest. See, as a journalist, and Venkitesh knows, and Ravi must be knowing that. Actually, it's a good, in a way, the clash of vested interests is always very good for journalism also. Most truths, most investigators depend on this clash of vested interests. So this vested interest, let us not brand them as vested interest. And so the bigger issue is who is the beneficiary. Finally, the truth, if it comes out, let them clash. Let it come out.
I think we'll have to close with these observations before the budget. But once the budget is done, I think we will not rush into discussion, but then we will let all the factors of the budget to come in, and then we can sit down and the same panel can discuss at length without rushing off into other meetings and stuff like that. But I think it's been very interesting. Of course, we have flagged only a few issues relating to the budget, but I think what Vijay said in the final word on the clash of vested interests coming out, helping the truth come out. And of course, Ravi and Sethuji, you have also contributed in a big way to the discussion, but then we'll continue the conversation once the budget is done. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.